Hi everyone, Aiden here at the Trailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination e-bike rack and seeing how it fits on the back of our 2023 Nissan Titan. This is going to be a platform style bike rack aimed at carrying e-bikes. It has a 70-pound weight capacity per bike, so good at carrying some of the heavier e-bikes, and it's going to work great with bikes that have alternative frames, fenders, things like that, because of the way it holds onto the bike. 3 wheel straps at the bottom pull it down and in, and also keep that front tire from pivoting. But then the frame clamp up top can rotate around 360 degrees to adapt to those alternative frames. And because we're not relying on wheel hooks for contact, it's Fender Friendly. So because it makes frame contact, you do want to avoid carbon frame bikes. But aside from that, I think it's going to work with a really wide range. And you're able to move that hook around this whole back mast here and adjust it to where it fits best. Plus, those clamps are locking, so you can trust that it's going to stay secure and keep your bike safe when you're not around. Now, like many other platform-style bike racks, this does have the ability to tilt away with the bikes loaded, which in the case of an e-bike rack can sometimes be a little challenging or cumbersome, but the way Hollywood does this is really intuitive, I think. There's a hand knob right below the mast here that we can loosen. And when it's loosened up, just push it out of the way. I need to loosen mine up just a little bit more. And once it's pushed out of the way, we can grab it by the mast and pivot it away. Now, the way it centers the weight actually makes this very easy to do. We only have one bike loaded up there, but I can very easily move this and lift this with one arm. So it doesn't put all that weight on you at once, which is great. You want it to be easy to use. This does allow us to open up our tailgate, but there is going to be clearance issues. So just resting right here, we're not making contact. Technically, it's pretty much right there. But the moment you put any sort of weight on the tailgate, it will push down and make contact. It's going to be right here on the Nissan logo. So it's not paint, it is plastic, and it's making contact right here on the bike rack. You do with that what you will. Personally, I would probably open it if I needed to get something out of the back, maybe like the included ramp attachment, but I definitely wouldn't sit on the tailgate. So if you need to get something out of the back, I think it certainly is serviceable, and it's better than not having clearance at all. And then when you're done, just lift it back up, and then put that hand knob back in place and make sure it's tight so that the bike rack doesn't go anywhere. Like that. Now, the ramp. This is going to be one of the standout features of the Destination e-bike rack. It expands by loosening this hand knob at the back, so it's quite long. It hooks in with this oval-shaped cutout at the top and at the back end of your bike. And the ramp is quite wide, so it does make it a lot easier to roll the bike up and down, especially on a taller vehicle like the Titan. What I'm going to do is undo all of the wheel straps first. That's going to be our secondary method of holding the bike. So we want to do that first because it's not actually holding anything upright. Just press the button on the side and pull those long ratcheting straps out on all 3 locations. 2 on the front tire, 1 on the back, and then loosen up this clamp up top to remove it from the frame, making sure that you actually hold onto the bike for this step so that it doesn't tip over. And that can just pivot out of the way, and you can wheel the bike down. You might run into, on this innermost tray, the pedals kind of running into that mast, but it's pretty easy to just tilt it away and wheel it down the rest of the way. I'm actually hitting the wall right now, so I'm just going to lift it up and walk it away. But if you're out in a parking lot, you should have plenty of room from the cars next to you to wheel the bike up and down. And when you're done, you can just replace those straps if you like. You don't have to, but because they're long, I like to. And then you can put the ramp away. The ramp doesn't store on the rack itself, so you will need to have a place for it, whether that's in the truck bed or inside the cab of the truck. Personally, I'd probably go for in the cab of the truck myself, so it's locked away and out of sight. But if you've got the truck bed, if you've got a tonneau cover, then I'd say that works just fine too. If you want something where the ramp does store on the bike rack itself so you never have to worry about forgetting it, the Yakima Auto Ramp could be a good option. I don't like it overall as much, but that one does have the ramp storage included, which is kind of convenient. Now from here we can get some measurements. I'm going to start off with our ground clearance, which is the lowest point at the back end. And because of this reverse U-shaped design, it's going to be on the sides here, where we're coming in at 23.5 inches of ground clearance. Because of the good rise in the shank and the tall height of the vehicle, I don't think you'll have to worry about ground clearance at all. And for the distance we add to the back of the vehicle, going from the bumper to the furthest point out, it's going to be right at 32 inches. Now, if you have two bikes on here, chances are your handlebars will stick out a little bit further, but not too much. And honestly, for a two-bike rack, that's going to be pretty standard, anywhere from 30 to 32 inches. You can fold it up for easier storage, though, by getting this mast undone first. So pull these safety straps off, open these handles to loosen that mast up, fold it down, re-engage the handles, and put those safety straps back on, just so the handles don't accidentally come popped open on their own. From there, we can turn our attention down a little bit further, where we have this pin and retaining clip that will remove from that pivot point, fold the whole rack upright, and reinsert that pin with the newly aligned holes. It can be a little bit challenging to line it up, but just wiggle the rack back and forth. It'll find its home, and I can grab my tape measure from over here and see just how much space we're saving. Coming in now at only 16 inches to the outer point here. So you do save a lot of space. You cut that down by half, making this easier to drive around with and to pull into parking spots. In the folded state, it doesn't stick up above the tailgate very much, so we're not going to be blocking our window. That is going to be a little bit more obstructed when bikes are loaded, but it all depends on the bikes you have. On the sides, we're not obstructing our taillights, which is great. And in the folded state, you are going to be blocking your backup camera a fair bit, just because it's lining up centered with that tray. So whether you have bikes loaded or unloaded, it's going to be an obstruction, and you're probably going to want to check your mirrors and your windows for your primary source of information as you're backing up. Now down at the bottom, we get an integrated anti-rattle device located very easy at the back end here, where we can access it and tighten things down on the hitch tool-free. And the way this actually attaches into our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube is great, because we slide it into the hitch, it'll hit this stopper, and then we just slide this pin through the side and use this locking core on the other side to lock it up. Now, because it's not a threaded hitch pin, it's very easy to pass through, and then when we tighten down this anti-rattle device, it actually binds the hitch pin against the side of the hitch pin hole. So it's a pretty ingenious way, I think, to have an anti-rattle device, because it makes the setup process into your hitch easier. And with all that, that's really all there is to it. It's a really solid bike rack, especially for e-bikes. I think where it really makes a name for itself is the ease of use. It's easy to get into the hitch. It's easy to ramp the bikes up onto those trays with the nice included ramp. And it's easy to tilt away, plus it works well with the Nissan Titan. So if you're looking for an e-bike rack that has a lot of accessibility features on your 2023 Nissan Titan, I think you really can't go wrong with the Hollywood Rack's Destination e-bike rack. Thanks for watching.